Canarella deep to center. Ranging back Jones, he leaps up and robs him of a home run. What a grab by the southpaw.
0-2 pitch, fisted out into left field. The double play depth hurts Branch as Hester scores without a throw and Texas Tech retakes the lead.
To pull within one a couple innings ago. Strokes a similar swing to deep left center field. That will split the outfielders. Hustling around second, Canarella. He is held at third. It's another RBI double for Engel in a one-run game. Ground ball gives Clemson the lead. Instead, it's a gapper. Deep left center field. Looking up, and it's gone! The freshman strikes again. His third homer of the year gives Clemson a 3-0 lead. Fresh off a statement sweep of South Carolina, the 10th-ranked Clemson Tigers look to start March 3-0 as they move from the SEC to the Big 12 and host Kansas State for the first time since 1999. We welcome you into Doug Kingsmore Stadium on this ACC Network Extra broadcast. Alongside Ron Smith, I'm Daniel Gillman. So happy to be with you. And, well, Ron, the rain pushed us back 2 hours, but a clear forecast. What do you look for in a midweek Power 5 matchup?
And that's what you have, two outstanding programs that have history, and it's going to be a statement and a resume builder for both of these teams if they can come up with a W.
Well, the Wildcats coming off of a tough loss yesterday against Tennessee. They're led by the all-conference, 5-tool All-American at shortstop in Kalen Culpepper.
Well, you mentioned it, 5 tools. He can hit, he can run, he can hit with power. He fields and he throws, and plus he's a really great competitor, got great range, just a heck of a player all around, and got to keep him off the bases.
And on the other side, if you've been following the Tigers, you know we're going to highlight the shortstop as Andrew Chufo, the Georgetown transfer, had his moment in Columbia on Saturday.
Well, what a way to step in as a Clemson Tiger and hit the big home run against South Carolina. You know, the interesting thing is that the coach had talked about not trying to do too much at the plate. Don't try to hit a home run. Get on base, do what you do, and that's when you hit home runs. But a big moment for him and the Tigers. Very exciting.
The first Tiger ever to hit a walk-off home run against South Carolina. Let's take a look at the big bashers in Kansas State. We talked about Culpepper, Brady Day, the Big 12 Player of the Week last week.
As we welcome you inside the booth alongside Kyle Rogers, I'm Daniel Gillman. Happy that you're with us. And, well, we're nice and insulated in here, Kyle, but how do you feel like the cold weather might affect the gameplay?
It's interesting because it affects how long a guy could be out there. Obviously, this is the first weekend of the season, so pitch count is something you're keeping an eye on, but you're also monitoring how they are performing out there. So the mental toughness, the emotion in which they're having on the mound is all something that you're going to factor in, but also sometimes those long offensive outings leaves you sitting in a cold dugout for a long time, and maybe that impacts how much longer you stay out there.
Well, a Stephen F. Austin alum, what was the coldest game you can kind of remember?
I mean, it snowed a couple times in Nacogdoches. It all just kind of depended, but there was never a moment that I could remember being something that was so cold to my bones that I didn't feel like I could move. So the one thing I will say is, depending on where you are, you're used to it. It did snow on the campus of Nacogdoches a few times, so you got used to it. But obviously, if it's your first time out there, it's going to be something you got to make the adjustment to.
Well, it's not too bad here. High 40s as Tim Williamson comes in off the bench. And this is a great story. Tim Williamson, who graduated from Harvard last season, is now a first-year law student here as a grad transfer at Houston.
And that's having a great law program allows him to come over here to finish out his career. You see last year at Harvard, 0-2 with the 5.83 ERA, 29 in the third innings, 26 strikeouts to 18 walks. But the Tomball native comes home and now is in the red and white for the Cougars after spending last year in the Crimson.
And 2 phenomenal innings out of the bullpen for Grayson Drezick, who potentially in line for the win. You'd have to imagine so, as Logan Haskell swings at the first pitch, tests Lopez over at third, and Williamson, that's a bullpen pitcher's dream, isn't it? 1 pitch, 1 out.
That's exactly what you want. You come in, you establish a zone with an off-speed pitch. You get him out in front for that rollover ground ball to Alex Lopez at third, who does a great job of fielding it and throwing over for that 1 pitch, 1 out to begin the top of the 7th.
Williamson with 15 appearances last season. Houston hoping that he can be one of those go-to lefties out of the bullpen. And, well, with Tommy Reifler here at the top of the lineup, Binghamton puts themselves in a position where this might be the last time the top of the lineup can produce. what's got to be the mindset to get on base?
And it's one pitch at a time. Baseball is a game of inches, so you want to make sure you're staying in the current moment, not thinking of what's ahead. Obviously, as you mentioned, this could be the top of the orders. Last time through, as they only saw Drezik one time through, spanning the 5th to 6th, now into the 7th here. So as we look to see what they can do, just trying to make sure you're putting yourself in a good count as he looks at that 2-0 offering for the called strike. But if you're Rifler, you're just trying to find a way to get on base, and then you go to the guy behind you. When you're down 2, you can't win it, as the leadoff man on one swing.
Rifler, the batting champion last season in the America East Conference, fouls this one off, and we'll have to wear it here for a moment. Meanwhile, Houston makes that defensive substitution we alluded to in the last half inning. Shane Vogel fires it into center field while Cameron Nickens pushes over to left. Adds a little bit of speed with Jones, Shane Vogel, and Nickens, the 3 Cougar outfielders here.
And it's a familiarity for Nickens. He was the everyday left fielder a season ago. He's been obviously seeing time to start 2024 in center, but he's shifting back to a spot that he is very comfortable with.
Payoff pitch comes from lefty to lefty. Oh, a breaking ball freezes Rifler. Rung up by Chris Booker for out number 2.
And it was that delayed call. As you mentioned, the payoff pitch, he didn't hear anything. He thought it might be ball 4. And as we take one more look at the off-speed pitch, freezes him and does look like it gets in just above that knee. And he's able to get that second out looking.
Brings up the 2-hitter in Mike Gunning, a right-handed bat. Finds that backdoor breaking ball to perfection there, 0-1. Walk in the first inning and a stolen base for Gunning, who is 1 for 7 in the young season. Holds on a breaking ball and smashes it over Lopez's head, and a 2-out single keeps the inning alive for the Bearcats.
And that's just, staying within yourself on that pitch, the off-speed pitch. He's able to sit back on and shoot into left field for the 2-out base knock. So take one more look. It's an off-speed pitch low and in, and he just turns around on it.
6th into the contest for the visiting Bearcats, who trekked over 1,500 miles down from Vestal, New York, here to Houston. As Devin Bade comes off of a hard-hit ground ball single in the 6th. Takes one low, smothered by French.
So your final line for Drezik out of the bullpen, 2 innings, 2 hits, nothing else to show for it except 3 punch-outs on 32 pitches.
As a former SID, you're leaning towards him, or are you waiting for another bullpen arm to potentially grab that win?
And he did exactly what you wanted, so that's a guy that, in my mind, is looking to improve to 1-0 at the conclusion of this game, if it holds.
Agreed. Jean, the starter, went 4 innings, allowed 1 run on 3 hits. He struck out 5. So 9 total punch-outs from the Houston pitching staff today. A night after striking out 15.
And that's what you gotta like if you're your Coach Wooding and the Cougar pitching coach.
This is flipped out to right field and past Jones, down the line to the wall. Hustling is Gunning. He gets the green light from third, cut off by Murray, and the throw is late. Binghamton cuts the lead down to 1.
And that's why you got to stay within yourself and stay in the moment. Obviously, it looked like they were down, obviously, to their final out of this frame. Instead, it's an extra base hit. So we take one more look at it. It's a pitch low, but over the middle of the plate. He shoots it down that right field line. You see it one-hopping into the wall, 330 down, and it's a stand-up double, but a run in for the Bearcats to cut it to a 1-run deficit at 3-2. And this is right after we were just talking about, how great if your head coach Todd Whitting or the pitching coach Sean Kenny, about the strikeouts they've had. That right there, Bearcats showing some late signs of life.
First RBI of the season for Bade, and it brings up Evan Sullivan, who's 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts today, and caught looking foolish on the breaking ball from Williamson. Well, if you're Tim Williamson, you've come in and thrown nothing but strikes. Certainly turning that wiffle ball style approach with the breaking balls and putting Sullivan well behind the 8 ball here, 0-2.
And you're just trying to make sure you can now get out of this inning. It's 1 run in. You want to limit the damage if you're Williamson, to go right back to your offense.
0-2 pitch from the Harvard transfer, and it's fouled off. Kevin Riley, the designated hitter, waits on deck for the Bearcats if the inning continues. 8-9-1 due up for Houston in the 7th, after we stretch, of course. Two, a little high, and the count pushes to 1-2 here with 2 outs in the 7th. The 7th inning in a very similar situation. It was 3-1 yesterday. Saw a big 5th inning flip for Houston to come from behind and then add runs in the pivotal 7th as well for an 8-4 victory.
And this is, like you mentioned, kind of a similar script. The offense for the Cougars has done what they needed to at the crooked inning at the appropriate time to take the lead. The pitching staff has done a good job of imposing its will. And now if you're the Bearcats, you're trying to change that narrative.
Plenty of holes on the defense. And it's driven out to straightaway center field. Back goes the newly introduced Shane Vogel, and he'll line it up to make the catch. So Binghamton able to score one, put a threat into that deep fly ball, but Houston's lead carries us into the 7th inning stretch. Next here on the Big 12 Now.